Assembly Bill 361, which suspends certain requirements of the Brown Act. This meeting is being live streamed on the CCTA website. The chair will call upon members, staff, and other speakers by name. Please speak clearly and state your name before giving comments or remarks. Persons participating via Zoom with their cameras enabled are reminded that their activities are visible to viewers. Members participating by Zoom wishing to speak should physically raise their hand and unmute their mic when called upon. Members should mute their mics when done speaking. Citizens participating by Zoom wishing to speak should use the raise hand feature or dial *9 if participating via phone, and the chair or staff will call upon them at the appropriate time. Citizens will have 3 minutes to speak. After 3 minutes, staff will lower their hand and mute their mic. Participants via phone will be called upon by the last 4 digits of their phone number. It is requested that public speakers state their names and organization, but providing such information is voluntary. Written public comments received in accordance with the teleconferencing special notice for public comment guidelines are printed on the meeting agenda. If authors of the written correspondence would like to speak, they should raise their hand and the chair will call upon them at the appropriate time. All written correspondence received after that and during the meeting will be entered into the record. A roll call vote will be taken for all action items. Thank you for participating in the meeting of the Contra Costa Transportation Authority.
Thank you. And Emily will now conduct a roll call.
Member Birdwell,
I'm here.
Member Cooney,
Present.
Member Dodgelli,
Here.
alternate member Bridgeway for Nestor Brush,
Here.
Member Noya,
Here.
alternate member Tran for Member Perry,
Here.
Member Queen,
Here.
Member Smith,
Here.
Member Thompson,
Yeah.
Member Toth, I don't know,
Here.
and Chair Clark.
Here. Thank you.
Okay, we have a quorum with members Ibarra, Member Reese Brown, and Member Timothy absent.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is introductions. We have some new people with us. I would like to welcome Rosa Noya from County Connection as a member of the committee, previously the alternate member. Rosa, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Rosa Noya. I am the manager of accessible services at County Connection. And although not having attended the meetings in the past as a member, I am very much familiar with the Paratransit Coordinating Council. Thank you.
And thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Really appreciate you joining us. I would also like to welcome Tone Tran from Tri-Delta Transit as an alternate member of the community. Tone, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. Good afternoon, everyone. I think I know at least half of you on here, so nice to see all your familiar faces. Tone Tran, I'm the Chief Operating Officer with Tri-Delta Transit. I've been here about 9 months now, so I look forward to working with all of you.
Well, welcome so much, alternate Tran. And again, thank you for joining us. We always love to have new people on the committee so that we can get even more input, which drives our decisions and our recommendations. So thank you so much. We would also like to introduce Rashida Kamara as CCTA's new programs manager, accessibility and equity. She was formerly the primary member for County Connection before joining the CCTA staff. She was also the vice chair of this committee. And I think I just wanted to reach out and congratulate her on her new position. I think that's just fantastic. and just so happy for you. Would you like to say a few words?
Sure. Thank you very much. It's definitely a pleasure and a privilege to continue the work that we're doing in Contra Costa County, no matter which vehicle we're sitting in, excuse the pun. Um, it's important that we kind of continue this work together. So I'm glad to be on the flip side of the PCC and helping you all out and liaising with you all out as staff. So this is a good thing. Thank you very much again.
Thank you so much. As you guys may know, Rashida was the vice chair of this committee. I enjoyed working with her very much in that capacity, and we will continue to work together, which will be great, which means we would like to announce that there is a vice chair vacancy on this committee, and we'll be asking for nominations at the next meeting. So if anybody's interested, let me know. I've also reached out already. And like I said, we're taking those next meeting, right, Ying?
Correct. It will be staff things. It will be good to allow the time to have the nominations. And thank you. You feel free to reach out to Chair Clark or directly to actually Rashida, who the future staff liaison after this meeting. So feel free to reach out to either one of them if you have any suggestions or nominations. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And the next item on the agenda is public comment. Emily, have we received any written public comments?
We have not received any written public comments.
Okay. Is there anyone who wishes to speak during public comment on an item that is not part of this agenda? If so, please raise your virtual hand and staff or I will call upon you.
I do not see any virtual public comments.
Okay, so that concludes our public comment item. The next item on the agenda is the consent calendar, which includes the summary of actions from June 12th, 2023. Are there any changes or comments from the committee? Okay. If anyone from the public would like to speak, please raise your hand, your virtual hand, and staff and I will call upon you.
There are no virtual public comments.
And there's no written public comment.
There are no written public comments.
Okay. Do I have a motion and a second?
Member Jelly motion.
Jelly motions, and can I have a second?
Kim Ridgway, I'll second.
Thank you. Member Ridgway seconds that motion. Emily, can you please conduct a roll call vote?
Member Birdwell,
Aye.
Member Cooney,
Aye.
Aye.
thank you. Member
That's right.
Dodgelli,
Yes.
Member Ridgway,
Yes.
Member Noya,
Yes.
Member Tran,
Yes.
Member Queen,
Yes. Yes. I'm sorry.
thank you. Member Smith,
Yes.
Member Thompson,
Yes.
Member Toth,
Yes.
and Chair Clark.
Yes.
The motion passes unanimously with members Ibarra, Reese Brown, and Timothy absent.
Thank you. We have 4 regular agenda items, 3 of which are informational. The first item is an informational presentation from the UC Berkeley PATH team on a project that develops an integrated open data platform among multiple accessible transportation providers. That is a mouthful. This item will be introduced by staff member Ying Smith.
Thank you, Chair Clark. Actually, Rishida is going to help us start the presentation. I just want to give a little bit background. This open data platform will connect to our future one call, one click, which is called for in the Accessible Transportation Strategic Plan. And we're fortunate that UC Berkeley Path has approached us with a concept. And now currently CCTA is working with Path to develop a grant application in the US DOT, the Department of Transportation's Smart Grant Program. So I'm not going to say more. Rashida, would you like to get this started? Rashida, you probably need to unmute. Okay,
Can you hear me now? Thank you. So this is actually one of the first projects that we were working on, and it has to do with the ATSP plan, as Ying mentioned. And so the development of this concept is something that we're very interested in, and I think that this presentation will give you the reason why. Let me get my... Can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, first I'd like to talk about the issues. As you know, coordinating and collaborating has been one of the deficiencies in Contra Costa County. Even though there are a multitude of transportation options, for the end user, which is the passenger, our seniors and persons with disabilities, it's very difficult once they get on the scene to determine which transportation option is really the best for them. And part of that is just basically a lack of coordinated data. If they reach out to one transportation agency, they can get information associated with that transportation agency, but without a specific advocate at that particular transportation agency with a knowledge of all the transportation agencies, it'll be difficult. Basically, we're going to tell them, here's a phone number, call this other agency. Some of the other issues that we've had outside of the 1C program is just cross-jurisdictional rides. As you know, the 1C program has solved some of the issues, but not necessarily all of the issues. And also cross-acknowledgement of ADA eligibility and other types of eligibility as seniors, as persons with disabilities. And we're talking about the implementation of agencies outside of the red. So even though we have some data platform, all it does is house the data for us. It doesn't necessarily talk to any other data that's out there for the purpose of helping the passenger choose the best transportation option for themselves. Also, inconsistent service levels. We have different modes. We have some agencies that have apps that can give them information. We have some agencies that rely heavily on call center, dispatcher to driver, driver to rider types of communication, and also lack of real-time trip information basically across the board. We know we have things like 511, we have the transit app, but many of these applications or data platforms are missing paratransit information and live paratransit information, and also ADA and ADA transportation and transportation with seniors for all the other stakeholders that we have. So basically, a lot of the problem is that insufficient data, especially data that connects directly to the customer for customer engagement. This type of data, when it's collected together on one platform, could be very dynamic for the passenger. At the touch of their fingers, they should be able to choose or call the one-click call center so that they can choose, based on the different eligibilities that they have, the best transportation option at their fingers. And then, of course, the other barrier or issue is ongoing funding for the different services that we want to be able to provide. So we do have some background in this effort. Contra Costa County has definitely, and you guys are going to forgive me each time I want to say Contra Costa County and I say County Connection, okay? Because the C's are a lot in my mouth. And of course, I came from County Connection after all of those years.
You get 6 months, Rashida.
Thank you. That was a really long time. You were very generous. So there has been some background work on this. There's been the accessible transportation study that was done in Contra Costa County in 2017. There's a coordinated public transit human services transportation plan 2018 by MTC. And then, of course, there's the ongoing digital assistant for travelers with disabilities research That's actually being done by PATH in 2022, and that has not been completed yet. But the point of all of this background, basically, what most of them are leading to is the lack of coordinated data that can be accessed not only by the rider, but also by all of the agencies on one platform. So as a result of this, by US DOT SMART proposal and this particular grant, which allows us to look at a concept, an open data platform for multimodal accessible transportation. So we're talking fixed route, we're talking paratransit, we're talking city-based programs, and we're talking about, what's the word that I'm looking for? Nonprofit-based programs that we have out there, shuttle-based programs. How can we put all the data in association with all of these programs on one platform, which gives our passenger or our call center who's helping the passenger or the rider access to information so that they can make an intelligent and knowledgeable transit decision for their everyday needs. As mentioned by Ying early, what's driving this application and the need for this open data platform was our ATS plan. We have several stakeholders here for the ATS plan. The ATS plan did, part of that research did determine that there was a technology piece that was missing. So this provides us the perfect opportunity for us to bring all of these pieces together. And there are several items that are mentioned on this implementation work plan that requires a technology piece. And so when this opportunity came around, it was the perfect opportunity for us to at least start to address some of these issues with this technology piece. And having said that, I'm going to pass it on to Joshua Meng from PATH in UC Berkeley, and he's going to tell us basically how this operation data platform can work as a solution for us. As you know, I don't know if this is slide 6 because I've blown it up really big. These are the service areas that we have regarding fixed route and paratransit. But I'm going to pass it on to Joshua, who's now going to talk a little bit more about how the open data plan can work as a solution for us on this venture. Joshua?
Yeah, Rashida, you may continue with the next one. Next slide. Yeah.
Okay, yes. So the first slide, we talked about the paratransit options that we have available. As you know, a lot of them have their own software, so they don't necessarily talk to each other. Although you can get a lot of information on certain apps regarding what's happening with the buses, you don't necessarily get that information for paratransit. And I mentioned earlier about the city and community-based programs and the volunteer driver programs. None of these are actually linked. You'd have to actually know of them, or somebody's going to have to refer you to them, and then you're going to have to go, and then you're going to have to get into their system to determine whether or not the transportation need that you have for that day, or for the next day, or for the next week, which one of these is going to work best for you. So as you can see, all of these are not currently connected, and they're definitely not sharing data. So if they're not sharing data, we're depending on either advocates or individuals, advocates that are with these different agencies to give this type of information. The only thing that we have that is working just a little bit is something by Mobility Matters, and that's GoGo Contra Costa County, and even that's a text. It's a text guideline, but what we're looking at is a technology guideline or platform that will gather the data and actually give our riders and our call center information that is dynamic and that is real time. This was my last slide.
Yes, thank you, Rashida.
Thank you.
My name is Joshua Meng. I am a researcher with UC Berkeley PATH, Transportation Research Institute. We are currently collaborating with CCTA on the development of the SMART project proposal. It's my pleasure to be here to present the rest of the slides. So based on our analysis and understanding of the current issues of the accessible transportation services in Contra Costa County, So we would like to propose a technology solution, basically to gather all the data information from different service providers, operators, including organizations and authorities, to better serve the community. So that's the open data platform will serve all disadvantaged travelers and communities by integrating all the transportation mode. And that also will serve as a digital mobility management platform. Then the use case for this platform will include a one-stop, we say one-click information and referral tool based on an AI-based searching engine that serves the riders, and a cross-sourcing automatic vehicle location system that can provide real-time trip information for all providers, including the paratransit provider and the other non-profit organizations and volunteer driver programs. We also will set up a dashboard to put all the data, service data, trip data, and the performance data into one platform to demonstrate to establish a dashboard to provide the information, the service information to the authority and agencies. Next. So in order to achieve that goal, we propose to collaborate with agencies, with all the stakeholders, including agencies and organizations. So we'd like to obtain historical operation data provided by paratransit operators. We'd like to obtain or to get existing rider travel needs and the feedback data. It's not a survey-based data. We would like to get some backend data to support the overall data collection. And we also to especially reach out to community-based providers, especially those small providers, to discuss the framework of the platform based on their statu quo, because for those small providers, they may not have much digital tools to help them to get the operation data and to help the small providers to be engaged in this data platform. And we also like to reach out to operators to develop the software API for data exchange and sharing in order to establish a comprehensive data platform to serve to connect all the agencies, service providers, and our customers. I'd like to talk very briefly about our use case for this proposed project. The first one is one-click information referral and center. That will be basically a website like the TripAdvisor or Trip recommendation website. The users, the riders, will input their travel demand, like the origin, destination, the time of travel, especially the special needs for disadvantaged population, the disadvantaged people, like the traveler with the disability and the senior people, what's a special need they might need. Then the engine, the platform will provide the trip recommendation to them, what's availability of each mode, including the fixed route transit, paratransit, community-based transit, and even some private that the TNC company supported mobility mode. Next. And the use case 2 is we are going to establish an operator-free platform to serve all the riders to provide a real-time trip information to the travelers. So for the paratransit, as you might know, there's some agencies already provide the service, the real-time service through their apps, like TransDev, to provide the vehicle real-time information to the riders. But for those small providers, they don't have very capable tools to provide such kind of information. So we are going to set up an operator-free platform using the crowdsourcing technology to provide the additional real-time information service to all the riders. Next. And eventually we will set up a dashboard that's the audience will be the authority agencies and the operators. The dashboard will provide the trip statistics information in different period and the performance metrics to provide the overall information, the performance information to the agencies and authority. The dashboard will help agencies and authority to better understand the existing service performance, demand trend, and county-wide mobility gaps in order to improve the quality of the service and foster collaboration among the agencies. Yeah, that is what I'd like to present. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So are there any comments or questions from the committee? That was a lot of information. Yes, Rosa.
Yes, I got it down. So it has to do with the data that is captured in the dashboard and the options. I'm just curious to know how will the most up-to-date information be reflected? For example, with County Connection, we could quickly change paratransit services for an unforeseen situation like a heat wave, for example. We may have to operate limited service, or just how is the information going to be updated, the most current information?
In current proposal, the dashboard, the backend, data platform will not be very up to date. We are going to collect data maybe in a frequency of monthly. So that's that's information will be the data will be gathered on a monthly basis. So we are not going to provide immediate up-to-date information to on the platform. So those immediate information like a trip alert or some real-time operator information will be still handled by the agencies and the operators.
Okay. I do have another question, but there's a lot of hands, so I'll just wait.
You can go ahead. Okay, I'll move on to the next. Board Member Queen, you have your hand raised. I believe you're muted. Board Member Queen has lowered his hand, so if you want to speak, go ahead and raise it again. I'll get to you, and I think the next one was Board Member Toth.
Actually, Chair Clark, Mr. Quinn just, he just unmuted himself.
Oh, lovely. Okay. Board Member Queen, please. There you are. I believe you're unmuted now.
I'm getting mixed signals here.
Oh, we can hear you now. Board Member Queen?
Oh. My question was answered. Thank you.
Oh, okay. And I believe the next hand that we had up was Board Member Toth.
Yeah, thank you. It's exciting to think that somebody's looking at this and thinking about it and fixing it. So that's good news. I am curious, and I understand that we have finite scopes of our work that we're doing, but in the data that you're collecting is about current ridership. I'm curious where we get the information about people who don't know about these services or don't utilize these services because they're too expensive, they don't run often enough, like all of the information about people who aren't utilizing, how are we capturing or gathering that to contribute to the work?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we propose to use search engine. Of course, we need to reach out to the potential riders. They might use this search engine to input their travel demand. Then we will collect those trip demand information on the back end. Then that will gradually accumulate a database, including all the trip demand that's initiated by the new users. We'd like to track their the satisfaction level that their demand has been fulfilled. So that is also a tool to collect the travel demand information from the website.
Ying.
Yeah, I'm wondering if I can step in to help answer Member To's question. This helps us to provide the data in this platform and like more aggregated data that will help ease the access to our services. So for people who don't know about services, maybe this is not the particular project for them. But for people who may not have the knowledge, but they have the need to use accessible transportation and paratransit, that will break down some barriers so they don't have to call 5 numbers to get to the service. They can call that one call, one click, while our one call, one click center will have all the data available to them. So we don't only rely on the superhuman to have all the knowledge in their heads, right? So this data platform will help our agents, our staff to answer those questions, to point people to the right services. There's still more work to be done to get the word out so our customers, whether current customers or future customers, will have the information available to them to make the decisions.
So Board Member Smith.
Yes, I'm just curious. With all of this data that's being collected, as a paratransit user is my primary interest. And I don't see it shifting down to where it's beneficial to me as a paratransit user. We've been talking about this for quite some time. What is the estimated time for the actual delivery of these services to us as users?
Yes, to my understanding, the current some new developed app already provide the ETA information to the users through their app, but it is not a. I saw some new recently released app description provided by TransDev. They might provide those ETA information, but in our platform, we also provide time of estimated time of arrival information to the users. That's a component and a functional component of our proposed platform eventually.
I'd just like to add, again, as a user, I'm not familiar with this app, these apps. So I'm concerned about this information getting to us, the end user, in a timely fashion where we can utilize it.
Definitely.
Because
we'll take
and I've been on the Paratransit Commission for this commission for, I believe now, this is my 4th year. And I'm not aware of the app.
I was going to recognize staff member Rashida Kamara. I believe that you're raising to respond to this. Yes, please.
I'm raising to respond and kind of just tie the pieces together. So the grant that we're going for right now is the development of the open data platform. That's phase 1. During the phase 1 portion of it, that's where the relationship between the data that's being housed at the individual transit agencies will come together. So once that information comes together, it is only then that it'll be presented at the one call, one click, right? So that partially answers Debbie's answer as to how would other people who don't know. Right now, people who don't know end up calling who they think they know, or somebody advises them to call one person, and then they have to go through several individuals. Well, once the one call, one click has been established, this open data platform in its final phase will be used by the one click, one call center in order to do all the things that we talked about. Now to answer member Smith's question about the timeline, this is not something that is functioning at this moment. And so not only do we have to develop the design concept, we have to do outreach with the different transportation agencies, and we have to be able to have access to their data so that we can put all the data on one platform. And that's phase 1. So the phase 2 portion of it now becomes the passenger forward facing app. So the app is not yet in operation in regards to this open data platform. It is only as we start this process, design the open data platform, gather the data from the different transit agencies, converge all the data, put it on something like a one call, one click, which has not been established yet, and then it becomes operational. So this is just the first leg of it. Does that make sense? I hope that answered your question.
And Rashida, also, this is a presentation.
Sorry for the delay. Yes, that helps a lot. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. And I just wanted to ask too, and what this presentation is also about, saying that they're applying for a grant for money to continue to do this. So there's still a funding piece that needs to be worked out as well. Is that kind of what I heard?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
That is correct.
I don't see any other hands up. There were some up earlier, but I don't see any up now. Does anybody else have any other comments or questions regarding this presentation? well, I just wanted to say then thank you. I thought it was a great presentation. I know it sparked a lot of questions. I have a lot running through my mind as well, but I think they're much farther down the way. Again, thank you for it. I know I myself am both excited and impatient at the same time. I think that's also been expressed. We've been working towards it for a long time, but any type of forward motion is great to hear about. So thank you so much for coming and giving us that information. Are there any other comments from the committee before I move on to public comments? All right, thank you. Emily, have we received any written public comments about this?
We have not received any written public comments.
All right, if anyone from the public would like to speak, please raise your virtual hand and staff and or I will call on you.
I'm not seeing any virtual public comments.
All right, neither am I. So next on the agenda, we now have an action item regarding the City of Richmond's fiscal year 2023-24 Measure J Program 15 claim form that will be presented by Ying Smith.
Thank you, Chair Clark. So this is, we have a staff report for you, and as well as attachments with the background. The staff report actually have a lot of information. This is regarding the FY 23-24 Measure J Program 15, which is the countywide transportation services for seniors and people with disabilities. As you recalled at the June meeting this year, the PCC approved the claims from 6 out of 7 operators. And after that, the Authority Board, CCT Authority Board approved allocations for Program 15. During that time, the subcommittee took the additional steps to review the City of Richmond's claim form, as well as ask for additional information. So we have in attachment B, there was a detailed record, and also in the staff report of the steps the subcommittee took, the questions they asked, and the additional information and documents that the city provided to the subcommittee for review. And staff capturing the subcommittee's recommendations into 2 parts. One is to reject the City of Richmond's claim, FY 23-24 claim, and the second part is to request a financial and performance audit on City of Richmond's Program 15, the spending and the program. So I'm going to stop there and want to open up for the subcommittee to speak to if they have any additional comment, additional information they would like to share with the PCC. So we have actually 3 subcommittee members, but given the staffing change, I am inviting Member Toll and alternate Member Ridgway to see if they have any additional comments representing this review subcommittee.
Nothing additional from me. Thank you.
Okay, so that concludes the staff report presentation, and would like to just turn it back to the chair and the committee.
Okay, thank you, Ying. Are there any comments from the committee? Or are there any questions from the committee? From the PCC? I'd like to then also make some, I'm not part of the review committee, but I've been at the meetings with the City of Richmond. And I just want to thank the committee for the immense amount of time that they have spent on reviewing all claim forms, and especially going back at 2 different times to meet with the City of Richmond specifically. To review that claim form and respond back to them. It's pretty clear in the packet, and I also want to thank staff for really going out of their way to make this as clear and clean as possible. This has been a journey. And so I just wanted to commend everyone who put that time and effort into it. And if we don't have any other comments from the committee, I would like to know, Emily, have we received any written public comments?
We have not received any written public comments.
Okay, I do see that we have 2 hands raised from the public that would like to speak. So I will recognize them in the order. Joanna Pollock.
Thank you, Chair Clark. I too want to just reiterate and underscore and thank all of you who have been engaged with this year after year, and especially in this past year and under the leadership of Ying Smith, and now with the addition of Rashida. It's just been, a long slog. So I want to thank you for getting this organized and in a direction that looks like it can yield some results. Thank you.
I'd also then like to recognize John Nemeth.
Yes, hi everybody, John Nemeth with WIGTAC. I just have a question for CCTA staff, I guess. And that is, what does CCTA staff think is the estimated timing of completion of the audit? And I ask that because if it can be done relatively expeditiously, then I think we can get to some conclusions and next steps in a pretty timely way. If it's going to take a really long time, then I have some concerns that we're kind of keeping things in limbo for a long period of time without the fund recipient kind of knowing what their target is, what they're aiming for, what they need to do to get in good standing with the subcommittee. So is there any kind of schedule or timing estimate for the completion?
Chair Clark, may I speak to answer the
please.
Yeah.
Yes.
John, thank you for the comment, and Joanna too. We will. I think this is the step we have to respect the PCC's vote today. I think without that, your PCC's recommendation, staff cannot really act on anything. So this is really the step 1 for this PCC to take an action on the subcommittee's recommendation. And after that, if we have that direction, staff will put together the schedule, scope, and budget for the audit. And this is, of course, among many priorities that staff is working on. And we definitely will put it in, look at the mix of the work that our new staff member, Rashida, is working on. And definitely we're not going to take a long time. We understand that this is important, but it's also a balance of many other priorities we have in our department.
Ying, do you have a ballpark estimate?
Not at this time. I think it's important to respect the PCC's decision today.
Yeah, I'm totally respecting the PCC here. I'm just curious about the timing. I guess there's not really an estimate here.
Not at the moment.
Okay.
Can I just respond to that too?
Yes. Member Toe.
So I would say it's in everybody's best interest to expedite this. And as soon as an auditing firm is hired to do the work, it really is dependent upon the city of Richmond and how quickly they can produce the data that's being requested. I think we all want resolution to this, to be clear. So we're all on the same page. We want it resolved. We want the data. We want a fund. We want programs moving. We want people getting their rights where they need to go. And we want reliable data. So I think we're all on the same page with this, and want to see it handled expeditiously. And that's how I would answer that question. There's no way to know before an audit starts how long it's going to take without understanding whether or not people have the data. But I think we're all wanting this to be expeditious. Thank you.
Thank you. Board Member Smith.
Yes, Chair Clark. With this delay in waiting for the audit. How is that affecting the services to the community at this time? Is there a lag in services? Or is services ongoing? Just what's happening in that arena?
I could respond just because I've been to some of those meetings. Is that okay with staff? Okay. So in those meetings, Richmond says they are continuing to provide those services using their funds, and what they're asking for is to have their funds released. So at the moment, we do not know of any interruption in service. And please, staff, if there's something else that we've received, other information, please correct me. And also to your, to your question about the audit, that is actually part of the motion that is being put forward. So nobody can start unless we actually approve this motion. So those are the two comments that I wanted to make, but staff, please.
Yes, Chair, you're correct. That's the same information that we all heard. The service is ongoing.
Yeah, Chair Clerk, I just have one other question in terms of the audit. So we have to put this out for bid to get an auditor to audit. So that has not happened at all.
No, that's what, so with the staff report, just briefly, the claim was rejected. There's been at least 2 meetings with staff and the review committee, the claim form review committee, and the city of Richmond to try to resolve it. At this point, it has not been resolved. So the motion is to reject the claim and then use previous year's funds to conduct an audit to receive the information that is needed to move forward with the claim. And again, and CCT staff and review committee, please jump in here if I
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't the PCC, didn't we cross this bridge a year or 2 ago
Yes.
on the same issues?
Yes. And that is kind of the point that has been made, is that we have not released funds from the previous claim year because we have not received information, and now we have not released funds as of yet for this year's claim form because we have not received information. The claim form has been incomplete.
Okay, I guess my final question is,
Pardon?
what's my final question? Why are we not getting the information? They're just not doing it. They don't have the staff to do it. What's happening there?
Unfortunately, we don't have that information, hence the audit. We don't know why we're not receiving the information. So we're trying to go another way. Staff's recommendation after these meetings is to go yet another way and try to hire an audit firm to get the information.
If I may just add a bit more, the city of Richmond did provide the information, the claim as was required in the claim form. And they also provide additional information per the PCC subcommittee's request. For the current year, the issues are, as we explained in the summary, there are a lot of questions on inconsistencies or error in the information they provided to the PCC. So there's a lot of questions from the subcommittee on the performance of their transit service. So we explained all that. The subcommittee's members had a lot of comments, a lot of background and forth. Staff did our best to summarize the issues. As you can see in attachment B. And attachment A is the complete package of the documents that the city provided to PCC and CCTA.
Apologize.
I just want to remind Chair Clark, I'm not trying to rush the service, but the meeting, but I just want to make sure we have a quorum. We just want to know if all the members will stay at the meeting. I think it will be unfortunate if we lose the quorum as we go through the process.
Okay. Well, we have, excuse me, we've done comments from the committee. Emily has confirmed we did not have any written public comments. We have also had public comments through virtual hand raising. So I believe we're at the point now where I'd like to ask if we have a motion and a second.
So can members of the subcommittee move? Rosa, go ahead and move.
Yes, you may.
Hi, this
Hi.
is Rosa, and I moved the motion, the recommendations made by the subcommittee with regards to the claim from City of Richmond.
So we have a first
Cooney, and I'll
by,
second.
thank you.
I'll
So we have,
second.
thank you. So we have a first by Board Member Noya and a second by Board Member Cooney. Thank you. Emily, can you please conduct a roll call vote?
Member Birdwell,
Aye.
Member Cooney,
Aye.
Member Dodgelli,
Aye.
Member Ridgway, Member Ridgway,
It looks frozen.
Yeah.
You can come
I'll
back.
circle back at the
Yeah.
Yeah. Member Noya,
Aye.
Member Tran,
Yes.
Member Queen, looks like he might have dropped off.
Yeah.
Member Smith,
Yes.
Member Thompson,
Yes.
Member Toth,
Yes, and it also looks like member Ridgway is back.
perfect. Chair Clark,
Yes.
and Member Ridgway.
Yes. Aye.
And is Member Queen back with us? Don't see him.
I don't see
Okay,
him.
The motion passes with the majority of members, with Member Queen absent and Member Ibarra, as well as Reese Brown and Member Timothy absent.
Thank you. The next item is an informational update on the Accessible Transportation Strategic Plan implementation and coordinated entity work plan to be presented by Rashida Kamara.
Thank you, Chair Clark. This is just a verbal update. We haven't brought this item to the PCC in a while, and this is also one of the reasons why I'm not working here to talk about the ATS plan. So regarding the ATS plan, as you know, we work with Nelson Nygaard, who originally gathered the survey and did the actual research and study guide just during when COVID hit. So the other thing, as you know, is that we had a list of about 21 transit strategies that were developed as a result of that study. One of the things that we're going to be doing as we continue to bring updates regarding the transit plans to the PCC, we're also going to be bringing also the updates regarding the establishment of the CE. One of the first things that Nelson Nygaard is going to be doing is trying to refresh the data. We just finished talking about data. The data regarding that survey and study is now going on 3 years old. A lot of the items, the transit strategies, they were prioritized, low-hanging fruits, what we could do within a year, what we could do within 3 years, and what we could do within 5 years. And so by refreshing the data, it'll allow us to reprioritize, especially since transportation has gone through a little bit of a shift during COVID. There are many transportation agencies that have started programs that maybe we can expand on those programs. So it's important that we do not waste our time implementing programs based on old data. So we're going to try to refresh the data. And as we continue to refresh the data and we continue to find willing partners, we will bring this to the PCC parallel movement on not only the transit strategies, but also the development of the CE. And with that, I'll be more than happy to take questions.
Do we have any questions or comments from the committee?
I would just say there was a lot of freshness in that presentation. I appreciate the freshness of the approach. Thank you.
Anybody else? I wanted to say as well, I'm happy to hear that, yes, we know that as things move slow, that data needs to be updated. So I'm really happy to hear that that data will be updated and we'll have the most current information, as we move forward. So thank you for that. Emily, do we have any written public comment on this agenda item?
We have not received any written public comments.
Okay, if anyone from the public would like to speak, please raise your virtual hand and staff or I will call on you.
I am not seeing any virtual hands raised.
I don't either. So it's an informational item. The next item is also an informational item. It is an update on the East County means-based fare subsidy pilot and countywide program expansion, and that will be presented by staff member Ying Smith.
Clark. Long meeting. I have a presentation to share, and which is also in your packet, and I will try to be brief. Many of you probably have heard about the means-based program. Is one of the strategies in the ATSP, the Accessible Transportation Strategic Plan. The pilot is a partnership between CCTA, Contra Costa County, and Tri-Delta Transit. And I would like to recognize Tom has left, but John Cunningham from county, he's in the audience. We may have tough questions for him later on. So I want to give you a brief background on the low-income ticket program. As I mentioned, this was a strategy that is included in the ATSP. The pilot itself is focused on the Tri-Delta Transit service area, and it's funded by $100,000 in Contra Costa County Measure X funds, with the CCTA Authority Board's approval in January this year. We started the pilot on April 1st, and it is a 6-month pilot. It's going to it will expire at the end of this month, September. Under this pilot program, the existing ADA paratransit passengers who meet the income eligibility criteria, which defined as extremely low income, they will be eligible to participate. They will each receive 10 paratransit tickets per month for 6 months. And I want to highlight some of the promotional efforts we collectively work on: direct postcards, automatic phone calls, the flyers on the Tri-Delta Transit paratransit vehicles. Also, Tri-Delta Transit did a lot of digital promotion on their website and social media. And most importantly is the in-person communication they did. In this program, CCTA contracted out with the Contra Costa Crisis Center to handle customer service and income eligibility check. The customers were asked to call 211 to ask for information and to work with the crisis center's staff on their income eligibilities. The value is 10 tickets, that is $27.50. This is the numbers as of July 31st. The Tri-Delta Transit customers are roughly 2,000 customers, and then the crisis center received 129 unique inquiries. They processed 60 income eligibility checks and approved 54 passengers. The latest number as of the end of August was 64 eligible passengers. This is a map showing where the customers live, and you can see the concentration, and it's still all parts of the East County area. We all have eligible passengers. And next, I would like to share with you the feedback we heard from Tri-Delta Transit Crisis Center and later on from the passengers. Overall, the pilot program ran very well. We have some initial hiccups with some confusion because the two numbers, the customers were directed to call a different number. And because the normal coordination with the different implementation agencies, and at the end, we work out a system that is work out pretty well. What the crisis center was able to do is to, when they have the customers on the phone, they provide additional resources to the customers, because they are looking for, if they are eligible for low-income tickets, they are probably also eligible for many other social service programs. So the crisis center was able to add this value to this particular program. They also document some difficulties in the communication, mostly because some customers have no email addresses for them to submit the income eligibility paperwork. The other input we heard is, this is really hard to reach population. We try many ways. You can see the response rate is not very high. We have 64 passengers as of the end of August. It's much lower than anticipated. The many reasons is like, well, granted, we can always continue to promote the program and get the word out in many ways. The other probably the things we learn is many passengers may not be very active in making trips. They may have heard about the program, but they may not have the need to reach out to ask for the free tickets. However, the people who received free tickets are very grateful, show their appreciation. And I just want to share some direct quotes from our customers. Tri-Delta Transit staff make those phone calls to them with the follow-up, like brief survey to get their input. And those are the really good feedback we heard. And what staff is recommending was approved by the CCTA Authority Board at the meeting last Wednesday, was to continue the program with Tri-Delta Transit and also expand it to countywide. In the new program, we're looking for some changes. One significant change is Tri-Delta Transit will take on the customer service and income eligibility check. So this will be just one phone call customers need to know. They are familiar with this phone number already. So it's a single point of contact for them. We want to eliminate the confusion and just eliminate the potential two numbers to call. That setup will also help to cut down on how much effort we need to do to be honest, there are actually 3 parties involved in the pilot. So it got a little bit confusing and time consuming for all staff members involved. And not only the Tri-Delta Transit staff would handle the customer inquiries, they will also handle the income eligibility check. And we learned from the crisis center what is the most efficient way to do it. So that's really the value we learned from this pilot. With that, here are the staff recommendations to our board, and we want to expand this program to countywide. And very soon, CCT staff will reach out to County Connection as our WestCat staff to discuss some details on how to expand the program to their service areas. So at this point, I want to ask John Cunningham if he has anything to add, as he was actually very involved in the pilot.
Sorry, my screen's jumping around. You just close share screen. No, I don't have anything to add. That was a very comprehensive presentation of the program and the direction we're going. And we've heard a number of concerns in the various meetings that we've presented this at. And one of them was, is this program going to be rolled out countywide? And you heard Ying respond to that. And it is something we're planning on rolling out countywide. It's something that takes time. That's all. And so we're scrambling to get it rolled out across the county, and looking forward to it. And I would like to say that the collaboration, as Ying mentioned, we learned a lot. And so thanks to the Crisis Center, and especially thanks to Tri-Delta Transit, their expertise and dedication and just focus on this. Deanna Perry, I guess she's not on the call, but she was instrumental in getting this program performing. So thanks to everyone.
Thank you. Thank you so much, John and Ying. Board Member Noya.
Hi, one of the slide decks mentioned the initial cost through Measure X funds, $100,000. I was just wondering if that was for the initial 6-month pilot, and what the $194,000 would be an additional for the upcoming. Yes.
Yes, $100,000 for the pilot, and with the resolution to Tri-Delta Transit, the estimate is the $194,000.
And so with that in mind, I just saw the number of participants. I did some quick math, and I'm just wondering are they in line with spending most of that? And if so, just wondering, is there, I did the math and it just seems like it's definitely being consumed if it is somewhere else. And if so, is that through the 211 call center? Or because when I add up 64 people, 10 tickets a month, it's just under like $11,000.
Yes, in the initial approval, there was a cost estimate how the $100,000 will be used up. We haven't closed the book yet, so I haven't had the accounting. So in the initial $100,000, there was $20,000 to Crisis Center for customer service. And we budgeted $75,000 for the ticket value. You can do the math very quickly. We won't use up the $75,000. In the Tri-Delta Transit resolution, there's a breakdown of how staff came up with the budget of the $194,000.
Okay.
And then the tickets will be, Tri-Delta Transit will be reimbursed on the tickets issued, but we budget to allow the upper limit, because we don't want to have to come back to the board to ask for additional dollars if people would reach that maximum number.
Gotcha.
I think each agency, as we work with you, we'll have some ideas how to make it better. So I think we will work on those details. Or Rashida will work on those details with all.
And then one last question regarding the elimination of, I'm assuming the additional point of contact, which was 211. So are they going to be completely out of the picture when it comes to this means-based fare subsidy program?
Never say never. They are partner. And this means the contract with them was for the 6-month pilot with the $20,000. So as we move to the permanent program with Tri-Delta Transit was really, we're fortunate that they are such a good partner. They step up to make a different arrangement to handle the customer service and income eligibility check in-house, use their part-time staff. And I know not every agency has that flexibility to use part-time staff, but we think at this point, this is the best arrangement for our customers. And so for this 12-month program with Tri-Delta Transit, the crisis center is not one of the partners. But I don't want it to be like they were a very good partner in the pilot. I just want to emphasize that.
Thank you. Board Member Thompson.
Thanks. So I'm just going to bring up the couple of issues that I brought up in a previous meeting, or a couple of concerns. One is the staffing commitment that this would require, taking on the eligibility assessments or requirements. It's not something that we're equipped to do, so it'd be interesting to see how we think that's going to roll out. And then the other part is just going back to issues that we've had with the one-seat ride and the marketing and getting that information out there. And my other concern is we're rolling this out county-wide, and yet we only talked about Westcat, Tri-Delta and County Connection. We've not talked about the East Bay Paratransit service area. So I just want to, I know I've stated those two things in the past in other meetings, but I think they're both pretty important to kind of, we take on board as we move forward.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Do we have any other comments from committee members? Yeah, you know, pilots are a great thing to find all that out, right? To run into all those bumps and see what we can do. So I'm glad that we are at least. Board Member Queen. Okay. Board Member Queen, did you have something to say? Okay, we can go back to that. Emily, have we received any written public comments on this item?
We have not received any written public comments.
All right. If anyone from the public would like to speak, I still have one more committee member Noya.
Yes, I'm just wondering if there's a good point person at Tri-Delta that I could reach out to concerning what Rob mentioned in terms of the volume of work and requirements in terms of staffing. And of course, I think Westcat, Tri-Delta, I don't know if LAFTA's around, but we have collaborated on a lot of things. And naturally, I'm going to assume, Rob, that our call center might be a little larger. So when it comes to that point, we can definitely talk about staffing.
Staff Member Kamara.
Thank you. Actually, Rosa, you are out on vacation when I reached out to Deanna, so as you continue to catch up with your emails, you are going to find an invitation from me to meet with, and the other person that we were going to invite was Mika, just because we assumed that Mika would have been Westcat's point person. But you're definitely going to be copied on the email, Rob, to discuss the best practices as Tri-Delta rolled this out so that we don't, we're able to do this seamlessly. So staff has already initiated a meeting to discuss the staffing needs that you would need, the type of support. I think Rosa made a good point. Collaborating this when it's going to be rolled out countywide would be very helpful. We do understand that on this particular landscape, there's certain resources that not everybody has. So if we can do it in a manner in which you're sharing those resources to make this happen, we'll definitely work our way to make sure that happens. So these are thoughts that we've had regarding WestCat's bandwidth. So it's actually on our radar to discuss that.
Thank you, Board Member Thompson.
Thanks, Rashida. I guess my other follow-up to that is that the way we do all of our paratransit and ADA kind of work right now, it's all contracted out. So it's actually our contractor would be taking on. So it's just another thing to kind of think about as we do this. So we'd be kind of, coordinating, overseeing it, but it wouldn't actually be on WestCat staff itself. It'd be the contractor staff.
Good to know. Thank you.
And I just wanted to ask too to that, San Pablo Paratransit is staffed. Member Cooney, do you guys contract out paratransit?
We don't.
Okay.
We have 2 part-time drivers, and then a portion of full-time staff takes the dispatch information. So we're really small.
Okay, so we wouldn't have to do with contractors or anything. Yes.
Yes. Since we have quite a bit of discussion, it's just asking our transit agency partners to give us some time. We didn't imply that the rollout with WestCat and County Connection will be exactly the same as Tri-Delta Transit, knowing that you may have different staffing needs or resources available. Right after this meeting, Rashida and John and I will be talking. We're really looking for another way to streamline and lower the burden on staff, also lower the cost. One of the comments we received is how much we spend on the admin cost versus the ticket values, the value to our customers. And I was the first one to admit that it's not a good number. We spend about 2/3 on the admin cost, about at best 1/3 on the benefits to the passengers. So we are looking at ways to be smarter about it. So I just want, just stay put. We'll get there. So just we have a way, have some ideas. Let me put it that way, some ideas, and we're happy to come back to you on the city program, which you hear partnering with City of San Pablo. We're going to build that means-based concept and practice into the program itself. That will be actually the best practice, right? It's not after like a house extension, right? We just build it in as we develop that program. So I appreciate all the comments, and hopefully we'll do this better and smarter.
Thank you. Thank you. So I think we're at the part of anyone from the public would like to speak. Please raise your virtual hand. I or staff will call on you.
Not seeing any public comments, Chair.
I don't either, so we'll move on to the next item on the agenda, which is number 6, reports. Does anyone who attended the most recent Service Review Advisory Committee meeting want to provide a report? I don't know who that would be.
I think Kim attends those, but I don't know if she's.
Oh yeah, she probably had to go.
All
right.
I think she's who attends those meetings, and I'm hoping that John went to SMAC.
Did we have someone go to the Senior Mobility Action Council meeting that wants to provide a report? Member Queen?
I was not there, so I can't report.
I apologize for that. Okay, if we don't have any other reports, we'll move on to correspondence and communications, which I don't believe we have anything. Great. All right, future agenda items. If there are any topics that members would like to have agendized for a future meeting, please raise your hand.
I've got to resign these things.
Pardon? Board Member Queen? say, I think it goes without saying, just another follow-up with Richmond. As John Nemeth had said, you know, just kind of following up with where that goes. Anything else that anybody has? If anyone from the public would like to speak on future agenda items, please raise your virtual hand. I or staff will call on you. Okay.
Not seeing any public comment.
I don't see any either. So that concludes our meeting. This meeting is adjourned at 3:27 p.m.